Hello and welcome to Startup Grind, Grand Rapids. We have a special fireside chat today in our wonderful SG virtual mode where it's actually not fireside. It's more like Corey in his car and Gaurav is down in Battle Creek in his home and office. So today is leading change through wellness. And we're featuring CEO and founder of MyLifeWell. Gaurav, he pitched for our global pitch battle here in Michigan and was a finalist. It went on to the global pitch battle. He is been in West Michigan for a long time and really excited to be able to share his story and special offers as well with our community and the rest of the Startup Grind. So thank you so much for your time and joining us. Appreciate having you.
Thank you so much, Corey. I'm actually really glad, and thank you for this opportunity for letting me share my story and experience so far as a startup owner. I mean, it's been pretty crazy so far. So thanks for this opportunity.
Absolutely. You and I have connected a few times, and we're actually connected through a program down in Battle Creek. A program manager down there mentioned that we should connect when I was doing my little road show around Michigan, saying, "Hey, Startup Grind live." So maybe you could give us a little background on your experience, your journey, and how you came to be the CEO and founder of this new great company.
Sure. So as you already located here in Battle Creek, Michigan, until last year I was working here for one of the biggest corporates, which are located in Battle Creek. Years back, where working for a big corporate always takes a toll on you. I mean, I can't complain with the role I had and with the job I had, and it was going great. But already survived 2 reorgs in 2 years, and that's always the case with a big corporate. With the competition being so tough, all the companies around the world are looking for measures to like cost and improve their top line and bottom line. So always that stress element as part of the job. Sometimes I added a new member or family, 80. So all on the personal front, like they were just like 2 and to take a pause and like probably for a wellness getaway or something. And it's at that time doing some research and options, I realized that you can find the option just location or just in one platform. It was actually pretty surprising to me. There was no platform out there providing all the way on just one platform, and that's how it just started. Like I'm like, okay, I need to do something about this, right? I need to. This is important. Like coming from the world, I knew that a lot of people are looking for wellness. Go and do research for us and days. From there on, I need to do something in this field. I've been very passionate about wellness. Wellness culture rather than activity. But now, when I have a cold or something, my mom would say that
I lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, just disconnected, so I wasn't sure what happened. But yeah, just to continue with the story, that's how the seed was just planted in my head, and I was like, okay, I need to get this thing going. The next thing I know, every day I came from work and started doing research about the industry. I realized how big the industry was, and it was completely fragmented. That was the most astonishing part to me, that there are options, like everyone is providing wellness options, but like very focused. No one was taking a holistic approach to providing wellness options for a customer so that he can have all the wellness needs in just one platform. Uh, and then from there on, I decided to hire two part-time developers to create some sort of demo of what I'm thinking. Fast forward mid 2019, I went to a wellness tourism association conference, uh, and I started just pulling people aside at the conference and saying, hey, I'm trying to do something in this industry, and this is the demo I have. Would you like to just have a look of what I'm trying to do? And that was the turning point. I started getting feedback from the industry members, and they were leaders from the industry, uh, who owned wellness resorts or travel agencies or consulting companies. And they all said, like, wow, this looks great, what you're trying to do. And after I came back from that conference, I, again, astonishingly got a couple of calls, and people were like, hey, so we heard about you at the conference. We are excited to see what you're doing. And from there on, the next step I knew is that people were actually offering me seed funding. So, and that was it. That's how it all started. And right now it's been great so far, and we did a soft launch just 2 months back, and we are about to launch the LiveWell side, which is like the whole digital side of it, uh, in another 10 days or so. So it's been very exciting so far.
So, how much did you have built when you went to that conference?
Oh, not much at all. It was more in the stage of planning, in fact, I would say. Uh, I mean, I had done industry research for almost 6 months. So I took all the pain points that I could find. I started talking to people who I thought would be the core audience. I would get feedback from them. I would come and open a book and just start designing pages, like
Mhm.
just start designing everything on in a book. And then I hired two developers just to create like 4 to 5 pages of how things will look and function and what it will offer. So I did that for 2 months, and that was it. It was like a very basic demo model I wanted to create for someone to see what this platform can do. And so it wasn't much at all. It was basically me doing all the research and then hiring like a couple of developers to give it some sort of vision and then showing it to the people at the conference.
That's incredible. That's like the dawn of the internet kind of story. When you could just have a couple like wireframes, an idea, and raise some money. That's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
so you come home from the conference because you have a family,
yeah,
and certainly your wife is familiar with the idea and your project.
yeah.
How was that received? You come home with a lot of really good stories, and then you get some phone calls, and all of a sudden now you're funded.
Yes, so my wife is not the one to take risks. She is very conservative in her approach. In fact, the first time when I thought about this idea, I knew it was around 2018, mid 2018, when I started thinking about this. And as soon as I told her, and I'd made up my mind very quickly, like it took me not more than 60 seconds to decide this is what I want to do. Like that was it. And I told her that I know what I want to do next in my life. And her first reaction was, oh no, you're going to quit your job. So, so she wasn't interested in hearing the idea of or what it was about. Her first reaction was, no, whatever it is, are you going to quit your job? I'm like, maybe. I'm not sure right now. We'll see how things progress, but it can happen in the future. So, but when I came back from the conference and we started getting the calls, she actually saw the progress and how it was being received, and she did like a complete flip. In fact, after that, she was the one encouraging me, saying that, okay, I'm the one who is conservative, but at this point, I'm the one saying that go ahead and do this. Like,
Hmm.
you have my support, you have our support. Make sure you go ahead and start moving in this direction, because even I can see the kind of response you're getting, and this is literally crazy. Like, things don't move so fast, especially being in Battle Creek, with not much resources around.
Yeah,
If I'm able to get that much attention, she was like, you have to just go ahead with this. So it was great to have a support and have that validation from everyone.
that's really great. That's a powerful story. Um, and
Yeah,
more about family. I was excited to hear to read a little bit about your relationship and the inspiration that you have from your father, being an entrepreneur, as like
right.
being an entrepreneur. Could you tell us some of that family inspiration? Because sometimes entrepreneurism, it's more like a virus than it is a blessing, and like
Yes.
we can't not do it.
Yeah. No, yeah, true. So my dad actually, he himself has a really incredible story. Uh, I mean, he literally started from the streets. In fact, at a very young age, he was in a small town, and he had to support his family. So he was taken out from the school, and he had to, like, just start earning to support his family. And he was actually thrown in a train from the window to travel to Mumbai and find a job. Uh, and he just landed in Mumbai, and literally, like, he started his journey from the streets. So yeah, watching him, like, go through that lifestyle, and like, make that progress and take everything step by step. It requires a lot of courage, dedication, hard work, like, everything that you can imagine to be successful straight from the street. So that always has been my inspiration, like, looking up to my dad. And I always thought that if he started from the streets and reached a certain level, he's already giving me the tools that I need to be successful in life, right? Like, good education, wherever he wants to support, like, I have him. And he, at a young age, lost his father. And so he had to get out of school and do all of this on his own. So that always drove me that, okay, I have, like, I'm blessed just to have a great father, a great family. Uh, and I just, picked it up from there. And I always started thinking the way he thinks or does things. And I started applying that in my personal life as well. As I said, like, being honest, being hardworking, being dedicated, being passionate. Uh, and I also figured out the way to get things started, right? As I said, like, this was an idea, but then to me, it was like, how do I take the next step? Right.
Hmm.
That all comes from being in that background, having seen the process. It kind of becomes more natural rather than stressful, that, okay, you know what, I have this idea, but I can't do anything about it. Whereas for me, it is, okay, I have an idea and I can create a plan step by step and actually take it to the next step. So that has helped me a lot in my life and in my journey so far, just watching and learning from my dad in my life.
Um, Thank you for sharing that. I'm also interested in hearing about how those lessons might have informed, um, the type of manager of teams that you have been in your career, um, and maybe you have some some uh, some successes or um, some advice for our community on managing different teams, because you've managed quite a portfolio of products over your career, and
Right.
probably a lot of different personalities and a lot of
Yeah.
moving parts. So maybe
Yes.
some of those lessons you could review for us that have really set you up to start something from scratch with this kind of confidence.
Definitely. I think in any type of setting, whether it's, a startup, a business, or a job environment, like, managing personalities, managing people, and managing expectations is huge. Unless you don't learn to do that, you are actually setting up yourself for failure. And I learned that very quickly, again, just coming from that background of thinking like an entrepreneur, the very first thing I tell to everyone is to have an owner's mindset, which means like, no matter how small or big the job is, you have to own it. You have to be accountable for it, and you have to take full ownership of it. That has helped me in almost everything that I've done. Like I actually remember when I interviewed for my last role, at the corporate I was working for, and they were like, okay, you're gonna manage this huge millions and millions of funds, and like, what are you gonna do it, or how are you gonna manage it? And I was like, well, I think since I think like I have that ownership mindset, I will make sure I like keep track of every single dollar, and that's what I did. Uh, but then it helped to set the expectations of what I can do. It helped to navigate through people of like, how they perceive me, how they see my work, and they start respecting you as an individual and what you do. And it's the same thing vice versa when you're working in any job or business setting. Like, you need to understand the strengths and weaknesses of not only yourself, but also the people and the team you're working with. And having just that, I mean, the way of trying to figure those things out really helps you in a team environment as well. Like, I had my peers and I was working with senior directors, I was working with VPs, and I was working directly with them, like, almost 4 or 5 levels up.
Mhm.
Uh, but at the same time, I knew what they were expecting and I knew how to manage their expectations.
So
So yeah, so that's, yep,
um, so moving from that kind of culture, because you spent some time
right,
in the organization, moving from that culture, um, you've had to have probably some personal pivot in developing something from scratch, and with a smaller team and
yes,
smaller budget, and different kinds of runway, and then to your wife's point, you don't have like the paycheck regardless of whether it succeeds or fails, right?
right,
So
yeah,
um
yeah.
so what's that like, and what are some of the maybe some advice for people that are making that tough choice, like, okay, when
That
is it
pivot,
time to
yeah,
quit the job?
right. Uh, I think there comes a point where you know yourself when to do it. So I know like this is by far the top question everyone has, when to make that pivot, right? I had the same question, when do I make that switch? And I think personally, I think each individual has to figure out where they are in their journey. And once they get that voice coming from inside, okay, I feel confident enough that I can make the switch and actually make this work. I think that's what it comes down to. With me, as I said, when I came back from the conference and I got the calls and got the validation at the conference, that gave me the confidence of making that switch. In fact, I had offers even coming from other big corporates, and like, for big positions, and I turned them down because by then I had decided that I have to be invested 100% in this venture if I want to make this successful.
Hmm.
Uh, and yes, so it's tricky, but I think it all comes down to your personal belief, your personal uh, confidence, and like, how you see yourself 3 years down the line. I would say, I think having that vision of where you want to be, what you want to achieve, and how you're going to help others through what you're doing really drives you. And if you have that core belief, I think that's when it's the right time to switch, when you believe 100% that yes, I want to be there in 3 years, and I have to start working towards it, no matter what the consequences are. Like, take one step at a time and just try to figure things out.
Cool, thank you. So maybe we can talk a little bit about the company.
Yeah.
How big is your team right now?
So with a combination of like full-time employees, agency employees, as well as like direct contractors, I think I have almost 15 people working full-time right now. And it's spread all over the world. I have team in, well, I have myself in Michigan, I have people in California, I have people in India, I have people in Florida, And again, it's COVID times, right? Everyone is working from home. So I had to create a virtual team. And that itself can be challenging. It's quite a process that you have to it's a trial and error. You have to do it. You have to go through that. You can't create a team in today's environment just in one go and like say, okay, I have everyone here in one place. Let's get started. So you have to go through that trial and error process and figure out what fits and just keep improving it.
So with a distributed team across the planet, not just time zones but cultures. Um,
Yeah,
Now, when you were at Kellogg, did you have experience working with people from all over the globe on the
right.
same projects? You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yeah, I have had. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually did my MBA from Thunderbird School, which is in Arizona,
Yeah.
and Thunderbird is actually known by far for having the most diverse crowd for a school. Like on average, students from over 50 countries apply to Thunderbird,
Hmm.
and that was one of the reasons I actually applied to Thunderbird is the fact that I will get to work with people from all over the world. So, I came to know about their cultures, what drives them, how they think. Even in a team setting or a group setting, like I was, to the extent I knew who is the one who should present, who is the one who should actually work on uh, the presentation, the actual deck, and who is the one who is going to be better at just doing the research. Like everyone have their own strengths and weaknesses. So I've always been fascinated, working in groups with different team members, understanding how what picks them, what drives them, and then basically bringing the whole team together based on the strengths.
Um, yeah, I have a couple friends that are from Thunderbird, have went to Thunderbird, and I saw that
Yeah,
on your LinkedIn. I was very impressed. It's a remarkable program. Um,
it is.
Now, Um, for those in our community that are now forced to manage distributed teams, and now we have the benefit of doing so. So now we're like, okay, I'll hire in Ukraine, I'll hire in India, I'll
Right.
hire Bulgaria,
Yeah.
or I'll hire
Yeah.
tech from Uruguay. That's fine.
Right.
But many of our people in our community probably don't have they're not already armed with that culture competence.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
you could give some advice to how to quickly gain that kind of competence or humility to kind of kickstart that management process, because I think some people just get frustrated, like managing these people from all these different countries.
So honestly, it can be frustrating, right? That's part of the journey. There will be always times where things are not working fine or things get lost in communication, and you don't get the output that you were looking for. It is all part of the journey, and it can lead to frustration. But you're right. I think as I said, like having really good communication tools and having daily meetings and daily stand-ups really helps. So we use the agile method to take the project forward. So we have like sync ups, whether it's my development team or the marketing team or the PR agency or anything else. We have our tools that we use for communication, and we have our sync ups to make sure that we are on the same page all the time. In terms of getting that competency, I think again it's you just learn as you go, right?
Hmm.
You just have to do it. I would say. I think initially you will figure out what works, what doesn't. I come from India, so I already knew what works and what drives, how people work in India. So I did have an advantage on that front. But if you're looking to hire someone from Croatia or Ukraine, because you can see there is a lot of talent coming from Croatia, Ukraine, and those countries, that is good talent at very reasonable rates. I know personally someone here in Battle Creek who actually has a team in Ukraine combined with a team in Pakistan.
Hmm.
And he's actually merging those two teams and working with them together. And again, he's using like a central tool to manage those communications, to manage the whole project, have communications between those two team and with himself. So I think you just have to lay down the processes and follow the processes and the guidelines like really good to make sure everything works. But apart from that, is as I said, it's a trial and error process. You just take one step at a time. If you find a good resource, you want to hire him, just go ahead and do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then just take one step at a time.
That's awesome. So last question about team. How do you hire? That's a always a great question to ask a seasoned leader like yourself, because
Yeah,
it's important.
right. Uh, so again, research is the first thing I do. I look at the ratings, the reviews across the internet for any individual or agency I look to hire. Uh, get as much due diligence done from your side, as much feedback you can collect on them, and then have a really good interview process. And when I say interview, you need to ask the right questions to understand whether that team can work in that setting or in that environment, right? For example, as you mentioned, it's a global team with global time zones. So anytime you're looking to hire someone new, you have to understand whether they are flexible enough to work within the moving time zones, right? Are they flexible enough to understand the different communication languages or the way people behave and interact with each other? So you need to again have a very thought out interview process when you are trying to select your candidates. Um, and if you think someone okay fits that profile, right, he is flexible, he understands, he has the skill set, he is comfortable with a fast-paced environment, he's willing to work on weekends, and then of course you put all to that like a checklist, almost like a checklist. And if it fits, as I said, then you go ahead and hire, and if it works, great. If it not, you start the process all over again.
Cool. Thank you. So I guess we can move from the team thing. I'm so honored by management and teams and humans, because I really believe that human capital is the most important asset or value that
Yeah,
any company has. Um,
definitely.
Now, uh, back with your company, when I first was introduced to you, you had a different URL, and
Right.
now it is MyLifeWell. My yeah. So can you tell us? I know you gave us a little bit of a background on like why you created it, but can you tell us maybe like what it is that you created, and some of your favorite features
Right.
that you're excited to roll out?
Sure. So what we have created right now, or we are still creating, is actually a one-stop wellness platform for meeting all the needs of a customer in just one streamlined manner. Uh, so the company, as you said, is now called MyLifeWell, and the tagline says "Live well, travel well, shop well." So those pillars of the platform. Under Live Well, we have everything on the digital side. So we have on-demand classes, we have live stream of classes, as well as one-to-one private sessions that you can book with the instructors. So whether it's personal or coach of that. On the travel side, we have a consolidated wellness travel platform. So we have wellness retreats, wellness resorts, wellness stores, all in one platform. And on that front, like I would also mention that we have been able to partner with some of the biggest wellness brands in the country. So, for example, Hilton Head Health, Upepsia, which are ranked number one and number two in the US as wellness resorts, are on our platform. Canyon Ranch, which is one of the biggest, well-known brand in the country, is actually our partner. So, and don't know if there is any other platform where you will even find Canyon Ranch's packages except our platform.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really good on that front that we have been able to actually bring the industry together so far and show them the value that they can get by coming all together into one platform. And the third component that we'll be launching next year is the shop well component. So if you want to buy like yoga products, yoga pants, healthy food products, anything, you can just do on the platform as well. So it just completes the journey for the customer that no matter where you are in your life, if you're really busy and you just want to start at home, just with on-demand classes, you can do that. If you want to take your journey to the next step and now go for a 1-week wellness retreat, you can find that. And by the way, if you need any products to support that lifestyle, whether at home or on your travel, we have that as well. So you don't have to buy multiple subscriptions or look through like 5 different websites to find the right uh, products or packages you're looking for. In terms of features, so as I said, we are launching the label section in another 10 days or so. And so on the on-demand side, I'm really excited, what features we are trying to roll out. So during this COVID environment, like everyone is lacking that social interaction. And so that has been always at the core of our of building the platform, that we want to build a community. That was very clear from the beginning, that when we approach this platform, everything has to focus on building a health and wellness community where people can come and start interacting with each other in any way possible. So we have a feature that we're launching where on the on-demand side, I mean, it happens so many times that you're browsing, you like a class, but of course you can't do it right then. You don't have the time. And normally you tend to just add it to your favorite list or a playlist that, okay, you can come back and do it later. What we are doing is you can actually create your own schedule now. You can create your own personal daily, weekly, monthly schedule. If you like a class, you can select the date and time when you want to do it and add it to your schedule. And we will send you reminders that, hey, you have scheduled a class and it's coming up like in 30 minutes, right? So it's holding yourself more accountable that, okay, I'm not just going to browse for it. I'm going to select a date and time. So I actually do it. Now, not only that, once you schedule a class, you can now invite your friends, your family, your colleagues to do that class with you and basically convert that on-demand class into a live stream for your network. That's again comes from the fact that people are missing that social connection. So if you have your friends and family doing that class with you, it drives you, it motivates you, they support you, you encourage each other. So these are some of the exciting things we are launching in this platform to make sure that people become more accountable for themselves, for their own health and wellness. And at the same time, we can bring that community together and the social aspect of it. They can start doing it with their friends and family members as well.
That's cool. Excited to hear the call. Now, you had also told me about this really fun way that you're going to market, because building both sides of the marketplace can sometimes be difficult for people doing that. You've had
Right.
no problem building the beginnings of the one side of the marketplace. You have the best brands on the planet,
Yeah.
on your platform. Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about this next step of your marketing.
Sure. So I think, as I mentioned briefly to you last time, that we're trying to find innovative ways of getting the word out and helping people show what we are trying to achieve here, right? So one of the ways what we are doing is we came up with our own in-house program, and it's called 3Ms of Productivity. Now, when you again think about the COVID situation, everyone is working home, people are socially distanced, there are no offsites happening, there is no team building happening. So we were like, okay, what if you can bring it all together in a virtual form and make it fun and interactive, and at the same time give them the tools to improve their work-life balance and or reduce stress and anxiety. So we actually created a program called 3Ms of Productivity, and those 3Ms stand for movement, meditation, and mindfulness. And we are offering that session around 30 to 40 minute session for free. And whoever wants to sign up for that, for companies, for teams. So we have actually already started doing the sessions, and the feedback has been great so far. What we do, as I said, in those sessions is we focus on those 3 aspects, like how meditation, mindfulness, and movement can help you in your daily lives. And we make sure we give them techniques and tools that they can take back and implement in their day-to-day lives. So that's one of the ways we are approaching, and people are really getting excited about that program. That so 30 minutes of free session, sure, we'll take that, and we send them a survey, we get their feedback, and at this point, the only negative feedback we have gotten is that it's too short. They're like, we want more of this, right? So that's great. So yeah, it's been going great so far.
Cool. Now, travel, the industry, currently is experiencing a bit of a shock. Um,
Yeah,
it has always rebounded. We've
right.
been through some crazy travel downturns, but there are also segments in travel right now that are doing really well. Um, there's and then there's a lot of segments that are expected to emerge before others.
Right.
When you're
Yeah.
looking towards the future, um, what are you seeing? Are you seeing any challenges that are interesting to you, or is it specifically some opportunities that you're only looking at?
So yeah, as far as we are concerned, we are definitely looking at the new trends, emerging trends, and the opportunities that the future of travel is presenting. So as you mentioned, some areas of travel is actually doing really good, and that's more related with experiences, right? So people are looking for, rather than just like going for travel and focusing on shopping or just overeating or drinking and partying. Now people are becoming more self-conscious, right? They are thinking more about, okay, uh, health and hygiene and immunity and experiences. And that's where the industry is moving, is providing more experience-based travel rather than just uh, selling, like, okay, you book your rooms and you decide everything else. And
Mhm.
that's where those industries that are providing adventure tours or such experiences, and also longer stays, right, in remote locations, are started to do really well right now. And I think that trend will continue in the future as well. So for us, as focused on wellness, we definitely see that as a plus, because as travel comes back, people will start looking more for wellness oriented travel, which are like, so we have wellness resorts which are mostly isolated. So they are not like in the center of the city with a lot of people around it, right? These are wellness focused properties who are isolated outside the cities, with huge acres of land, natural surroundings around it, either surrounded by mountains or water. Uh, and then they have like specific programs, right? They have everything included in it, and with the experience included in it. So I think that's where the trend is moving. And I think as it comes back, I think we'll be positioned really well to take advantage of that new trend as we continue to build our portfolio.
Uh, when uh, when when things happened on the other side of the planet in January and February, and hit our awareness closer to March,
Right.
where was your head at? Like, what were you thinking? You just laughs.
uh, so, well, so it's actually a long story that I don't have the time right now to explain, like, what all went through my head, because I have been through such experiences in my life now before the COVID experience. So this time around, when I started something and COVID came, my first reaction was I just started laughing. That was it. I wasn't sad. I wasn't mad. I wasn't like, I'm like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? I have to shut this down or something. I literally started laughing, and I was like, okay, I think this can be a good opportunity. So, and I think that mindset was because of few things that have happened previously in my life, and I've been through those situations, that I could be very calm and was able to think through the situation and actually evolve and make it even better than what we were pre-COVID. So yeah. So honestly, like, when I read and thought about all of that in, like, Feb and March time frame, uh, I was mentally very quickly I was able to just pivot and said, okay, we can use this as a big opportunity and come out with something even bigger and better. And that's what we did.
Great. It's amazing what some perspective from prior experiences can give you.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Well, just a couple more questions because I know we're coming up against our hour here. But for the entrepreneurs that don't have the benefit maybe of a Thunderbird program or having a career that you've weathered some crazy setbacks or shocks to your system. Um, these entrepreneurs that are maybe just getting started, because we are seeing that there's more startups now than ever. People
Right.
are they are turning their own challenges like you did into
Right.
opportunities. um,
Yeah.
when they're looking in the next 6 months, 12 months, do you have one or two pieces of advice for the beginner entrepreneur?
Sure. So I would say, I mean, coming back to the same thing, right? Just take one step at a time. Setbacks, failures are always part of the journey. If that don't happen, great, like amazing, kudos to you, like But more often than not, it does happen, right? Like you always run into challenges, you always run into setbacks. At that point, I think what really helps you is your that core belief again, right? Your positive outlook, your positive mindset to get you out of that situation. So I would always say, like in any situation or any scenario, always try to find the positive out of it instead of looking at, okay, I wasn't expecting this and now there is nowhere for me to go from here. Uh, I would say always look at from the point of view that, they say like the glass is half full, right? Always think that, okay, this has happened now, is there a way I can actually take advantage of the situation? Uh, I mean, I always say, like, if you, for example, looking at the stock market, when it crashes, some of the people are like, okay, what am I going to do? And some of the people are like, this is a great time to buy,
Mhm.
right? This is the same thing. So you just have to keep moving forward, have a positive outlook. You will have setbacks as long as you keep your eyes and like your mind open for new opportunities, new ways to improve, new ways to figure out solutions. I think eventually you will find success.
Thank you for that. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that we wanted to get to?
um no, I think we covered a lot in this call. Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's great.
went all around. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so then I asked Michael in the chat if he had any questions for you, but I haven't seen anything come through yet. While
Okay.
if he's gonna type something in, I'm gonna ask you one last question, and then we'll see if he's got one for you. But we always ask our founders this, and anyone that we talk to, what do you need? What do you need from us? What do you need? Like from the community at large, the Startup Grind global community. How can we help you?
uh, I mean, one thing I think that every startup or every founder and owner is looking for a network. And I think that's where Startup Grind comes into the picture and helps with, like, making new connections, just, finding resources. I think that's where Startup Grind does an excellent job. Like having these calls or doing pitch competitions and bringing people together has been great. And the same thing in the future. If I know we speak a lot, and I always say, if there is any other person you think I should talk to or connect with, just let me know. And you are always like proactive in that regard. That, hey, I should think you should meet with this person or talk to this person. Apart from that, so networking and, like, funding opportunities also come from Startup Grind. There are a lot of investors as well connected with the community, so that's another area that Startup Grind can help with help the startups and the founders. So I think those are the two big areas, because as a startup, initially you're always looking for some sort of community to to fit into, right? To even validate what you're trying to do, give you that support and encouragement, and give you a jump start. And I think that's where Startup Grind does a really good job and can keep supporting the entrepreneurs and the founders going ahead.
Yeah, we're also very good for those virtual hugs, because not everyone has the understanding family that's like, go for it, do it. Some of them are surrounded by
Yeah,
people with a different mindset, like, when is it time to give up?
right.
So, and that's why it's called Startup Grind, because it's a grind, right? It just doesn't stop.
It's a grind.
Um,
Yeah.
all right, well, Michael, you're all set. Uh, Gaurav, thank you so much for the generosity of your time, and for the insight. This has been a lot of really great morsels. I'm excited to share it with the rest of the community. So thank you, and please have a good rest of your day, okay? I'll talk to you soon.
Jitu, thanks, and thanks again for giving me the chance of sharing my story and my exciting journey so far. So thanks again.
Absolutely. Talk soon. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.